Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 24 of Why You, Why Me, and it's titled Saviour. Damn, he muttered when he realised he couldn't just lift the counter off your legs, as there was a whole damn car resting on top of it. My parents, you cried out to him. Please help them. Your eyes welled up as your gaze fell to your unconscious mother. But you, I don't care about me. Please, Katsuki, you cried out in anguish again. If I'd only been paying more attention, I'd have been able to hit that car and stop it, he growled furiously at no one in particular. I'm going to kill him, he seethed. He paced up and down the line of you all stuck under the rubble and muttered curse words as he determined what to do, his eyes constantly darting back to you, as you were his main concern. Even though you could tell he was rattled, he remained calm and collected. He pulled his shirt off over his head and roughly folded it to make a makeshift bandage for your father's head and applied it gently but firmly. Don't move, he commanded your dad. I'll get you out. Thank you, your dad mumbled, not realising who he was talking to. Bakugou looked over at his parents. They were trapped too, but no heavy wounds from what he could see. Oi, you okay? He asked his parents roughly. They nodded in response. He pulled his phone out of his back pocket and handed it to his mum. Call for police and an ambulance. I need to administer first aid to the others, he said in a low, commanding tone. His mum obeyed and dialed emergency services, detailing where they were and what had happened. Bakugou came back over to you and took your face in his hands. I'm still here, don't worry, he said, forcing you to look him deeply in the eye. You nodded quietly. You didn't realise how scared you were, but he could see it in your eyes and was doing his best to comfort you. He leaned in and kissed you firmly on the lips. I'm getting you out. He stood up and walked in beside you, grabbing the countertop in both hands, his back muscles rippling as he heaved, using all his strength to make it move, but he only managed to shift it slightly. Damn! He shouted in frustration, looking for a lower place to grip onto so he could get more leverage. Ambulance is on its way, Mitsuki called from where she was still pinned underneath. Better hurry up, he growled, still trying to lift the counter off you and the others. Your grandma groaned from beside you, and you realised that was the first noise that you'd heard from her. Grandma, you asked softly, reaching out a hand to her. Are you okay? I'd like to say I am, dear, but I don't think I am, she said, raising her head weakly and looking at you. She looked very pale. Katsuki, you called to Bakugou, who was still trying to lift the countertop. Grandma's hurt. Badly, I think, you said, distress evident in your voice. Bakugou turned and looked at you, then at Grandma. Hold on, he grunted, just hold on. He was getting more and more frustrated until finally he couldn't take it anymore and stood back slightly before activating his quirk and blasting the countertop off. You screamed and covered your head, and then you felt a hand in the middle of your back, steadying you. It's okay, you heard Bakugou say. I've almost got it. He had blasted enough off to be able to lift the rubble and move you out from underneath. He dragged you into his arms and held you against his heaving chest. He was slightly sweaty from exertion and fear, but he smelled amazing, like burnt caramel. You dug your fingers into his back and neck and clung on for dear life, whimpering softly at the pain that you felt in your legs. I've got you, baby, he whispered lowly, pulling you to a safe distance away. Will you be okay here while I get the others out? You nodded slowly. You didn't want him to go, but you knew that you needed to let him go to get the others out, so you reluctantly let go. Next you went to your grandma and pulled her out. Her legs were crushed badly and she was bleeding profusely. You reached for a tablecloth and pulled yourself over to her. You couldn't feel your legs, but they weren't crushed. You were hoping the feeling would come back in time. You bandaged your grandma's legs as best you could and watched as Bakugou worked at getting your mum and dad free. He was a mass of grunting and cursing, but he managed to get your mum free and pulled her still unconscious form over to you. He was well and truly covered in sweat now and glistening as he worked. You knew it wasn't the best time to be checking out your boyfriend's body, but damn, the boy looked good. You were so proud of him in every way possible at that moment. He was so good at reading dire situations, and although he sounded angry as hell, he kept a collected and calm demeanour. Surprisingly, everyone in his care looked calm as well. He seemed to be getting stronger as he worked, and got everyone free of the rubble just as emergency services arrived. Bakugou came back to you the minute that they took over and pulled you into his arms, refusing to let you go. The paramedics looked over everybody and decided who needed the most attention. When they declared that you were one of the less injured ones and thus didn't need immediate attention, Bakugou lost his cool. Listen, you extras, you'll take care of her first. She's the only damn person in this room that matters, he growled menacingly. You placed a hand on his arm and kissed his cheek softly. I'm fine, Katsuki, I promise. At hearing your voice, he calmed down and just glared at the emergency crew. And there ends chapter 24. Stay tuned for chapter 25.